Guys, please watch this video to the end. Why I think this altcoin can 50 to 100x in the next 3 months. I believe I have found the next Hyperliquid very, very early. I'm going to get into the reasons why I think it might be the next Hyperliquid, why it may even be better than Hyperliquid, because it has many features that Hyperliquid does not offer. And it has crazy backing from Pantera Capital. If you know about Pantera, they manage over $5 billion in assets. And Hyperliquid actually became massive without the Coinbase listing, without the Binance listing, without the institutional backing. So imagine a project that was better than Hyperliquid, offered more, and is backed by these massive institutions in Wales. I think it could potentially surpass Hyperliquid, which would be over, for us personally, would be over 200x. We'll talk about the x's and where I think this can get if you were getting in today and what I would do, etc. later in the video. So really, really cool project. Now, we're really early to this because the project launched this week. So I think it launched 5 or 6 days ago, and Binance have only just listed it today. So they listed it 7 hours ago. And it's now on Binance. It's crazy. So it's literally listed on Coinbase now and Binance, plus many other exchange listings today. I think there's been 5 more exchanges that listed this today, including crypto.com. I know it's on Buyback. It got added to some Korean exchanges as well. Another thing I'll say, so the ticker is AVNT. Okay, so Avantis it's called. This is very interesting. I haven't seen this very often. So when the market is having a pullback, pay close attention to assets that are not dumping. Okay, this shows that the project has some massive diamond hands and that people aren't prepared to let go of this because they think it's going to go considerably higher. There's not many times that this has happened. I do remember this happening with Casper as well. When we got into Casper back in 2022, I said, very nice blockchain project, very smart team with previous success. Market cap's around 50 million. I'd expect this to sit at 150 to 300 million in a bear market, given its fundamentals. Long-term, 30 to 60x potential. And we actually hit our target, right? It didn't quite do 60x, but it done over 30x. I think the market cap was 50 million at the time. And now today it's 2.2 billion. So these things can feel like a pipe dream at the time. But when you find these assets that have these really strong fundamentals, which is very rare, and I'll even argue that AVNT has a lot more fundamentals than Casper did back when we got into Casper. When you find them, it's very rare. And you can see here that, people are up 2x, 3x, and they're not selling because they can see it doing 10, 15, 20, 30x. I love these plays. I love these setups. I love these assets, especially when they have institutional backing like Pantera and Base and Coinbase. So really, really cool project. Now listen to this from Piff. Now Piff already have 250 or 260,000 followers. This is very key, and this is one of the main things I saw when I was investing in this project, and it's good to see that they have this kind of institutional backing. Now just listen to this.
Avantis just launched its coin perpetual market with 25x leverage. This is a first on Base, and this will let trader go long or short on the Coinbase stock, one of the top crypto exchanges in the world. And this is only the beginning for Avantis becoming the universal leverage layer for real-world assets. They had already launched SPY and QQQ, which are 2 of the most traded ETFs in the world, which track the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. And of course, these markets are powered by Pyth institutional-grade data. Unlike traditional price feed provider or oracles that redistribute third-party data, Pyth delivers prices straight from the source. The traders, the exchanges, the market makers that set these markets every day. A big shout out to the Avantis Chads, and it's just price feeds. Avantis.
So basically, they just summed it up, guys. They're going to take on Hyperliquid, and they even had little jabs and shots there about how Hyperliquid was set up. So they're coming for Hyperliquid, guys. There's no way to compete against Hyperliquid. They know that. The exchanges know that. They know more and more people are starting to trade on Hyperliquid. They can see the market wants a decentralized place they can trade where their money is their own money. It's not stuck on a centralized exchange where there's an issue of trust, and am I going to be able to get my money out, and I don't want to trade with too much money there. We are seeing people trade with hundreds of millions of dollars on Hyperliquid. The exchanges are not stupid, and unfortunately you have to join them, right? If you can't compete against them, you have to join them. We've seen the same thing happen with Bitcoin. They tried to take it down, the CEI tried to go for it, they tried to ban it, they tried to do this, and they realized that we can't stop this decentralization. We can't stop it. No one controls it. There's no central entity we can take to court or we can bribe. They had to adopt it. That was the only option. Otherwise, it was going to be completely owned by retail. The banks wouldn't have been able to play. The institutions wouldn't have been able to play. The same thing is happening right now. And there's been no competition come along for Hyperliquid. No one has tried to take them on. And I believe that this Avantis is the cabal coming for hype. And we can already see they're using some of the best in the game, right? They're already using PIF. And they're talking about this is going to be a global platform for institutions, not just retail, but for institutions as well. And unlike Hyperliquid, you can trade stocks, you can trade commodities, you can trade metals and gold. You can use up to 500x leverage, which appeals to retail. There's so many cool features that they've introduced, like there's a no fee feature where if you make a loss, you don't pay any fees. So if you look at some of the fees that people are paying on Hyperliquid, including the whales, it's crazy. So they've analyzed, I used to work in Web3 marketing, so I can see exactly what they're doing. They've analyzed Hyperliquid. They've looked at some of the whales that are trading on there. They've seen that they're paying $1 million in funding fees. Like some of these fees, these whales are paying are crazy in funding fees. And they've created a cheaper, faster, much cleaner in my impression. It's much cleaner than Hyperliquid version. And it's beautiful. They've really nailed it. And it's just the start, right? So I can imagine there's going to be lots of upgrades, lots of new features added to it. The volume is going absolutely crazy. Sometimes a leading indicator is the volume. I think when I got into this, I brought this a couple of days ago, guys. When I got into this, I think the volume was 240 million and it was up 80%, which is always a leading indicator. If you see the volume is up, a lot of the time the price tends to follow, which is why I went in with quite a big bag. And even today, it's up 212% now to almost $2 billion in trading volume. Obviously, it's just got added to Binance. So we have $174 million trading on Binance. This is also very rare. $316 million is being traded on Coinbase. And it's usually Binance that massively supersedes Coinbase in trading volume. And it's very institutional. There's a lot of institutions on Coinbase. And obviously there's Coinbase themselves, who I assume are going to probably accumulate a lot of this because they're going to want it to do well because it's on their own platform base. And if you want your layer 1 to do very well, you're going to want a dApp or an application to do very well. And this has a lot of the fundamentals for it to be one of the leaders on Base, which I think this is probably going to be the leading platform on Base and that brings many users to Base. So really, really cool, very new, just started out. The market cap is still very small, so it's 297 million market cap. And if we look at if we look at Hyperliquid today, the Hyperliquid market cap is around $18 billion. So even today, even after this price pump, it would be a 48x if it managed to reach Hyperliquid's market cap. So that's 1K to 48K. So if you put $1,000 in this and it reached Hyperliquid's market cap as of today in the pump, you would make $48,000. And if you put $10,000 in and it reached Hyperliquid's market cap of 18 billion, you would make $480,000 getting in today. So it's a big way. 48x from here, pushing up to 18 billion wouldn't happen overnight. There would need to be a lot of things happen. There'd have to be a lot of adoption, a lot of users. I do think it's possible. And that's why I decided to bag up in this project quite heavy. Big up all of the guys in my community who managed to get into this. We got into this a couple of days ago and already they're making crazy gains. Big up MG, 7x already, $12,000 in profit on that AVNT call. He actually got in slightly after me, so I got in around I posted it around 43 cents. So he even got in at 59 cents and still made a 7x there. GG's, bro. 17x from Good Son. He actually got in with my call around 43. That's crazy. So that's like, that's 10k to 170k in 2 days. Like, where else can you make those kind of gains? Or 1k to 17k, whatever you put in there. Big up Vloby, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Up 30k in a few days. Crazy, absolutely crazy gains. Big up Tony Shark, also up 122%. 7x there from Chef. 2,615%, a 26x from Arthur. He actually got in slightly cheaper than me, so he got in after my call and it retraced back a little bit. 7x from John. Toe tap 4,700. Oh, he took 2 trades here, 478 and 469. He got in at 76 and 53, so he's been taking profits and entering new trades. This is crazy. 100x from Be Like Water 14. He actually went 50x leverage. He got in at my quarter, man. If I put in 20 grand, right? So I put in $20,000. If I had have put that on 50x, if I had have copied I went a lot lower leverage. I do on altcoins. I tend to use lower leverage on altcoins. If I had have put 50x on, I'd already made over $1 million in 2 days. How crazy is that? GG's, bro. 100x, man. That's crazy. I guess if this continues to push up, that could be 1,000x. You only need another 10x here to hit 1,000x. You know, and a 10x, I think, is quite conservative for this project, not financial advice. 30x there, Gino. Look, I could go on, guys. 10x from crypto. Big up, guys. I love to see you guys winning. This is my trade. So I'm up $54,000 on my leverage trade, but I also bought spot, and I've not sold any of my spot bags at all. So yeah, 54k in a couple of days. Absolutely crazy. If you want to join us, guys, if you want to see my buy and sell alerts, I posted it here at Buy Alert AVNT on the 13th of the 9th. So it's the 15th today, so 2 days ago. And all of the reasons why I'm super bullish on this project. You can join RX. So here's the link to join. Search this, and that will bring up my crypto page. Click this link here, and then that will take you to another page. And then there's like a bubble. If you click one of the bubbles that says Patreon, that will take you into the Discord, and you can see all of my buy and sell alerts, all my leverage trades, all the positions I'm taking. So let's get more into the reasons why I think this could be really successful. And I mean, first of all, if you look at their Twitter, they still only have 84,000 followers. So I feel like we're still quite early. I've been through some of the followers here. You can see, look, some of the accounts I follow, they're followed by 44 of similar accounts, and I don't see a lot of the usual suspects, right? A lot of the large YouTubers, with hundreds of thousands or millions of subscribers. So I feel like we're still early. Even Piff have 250, 260 followers. If we look at Hyperliquid, they have 320,000 followers, and they're followed by 215 of the accounts that I follow. So we can clearly see that still a lot of people have not found out about this. And I mean, it did come out literally like 5-6 days ago. So, unless you're really locked in and tapped into this market, you probably wouldn't have heard of it, right? So there's still so many people yet to find this. The engagement is crazy. Look at this, 1.6k likes on this post already. Listed on Upbit in Korea. Just got listed on Binance. Absolutely crazy how many exchanges this is getting listed on already. Doing really, really good stuff. Really good marketing. Constant content is coming out. Crazy volume. And I think it is really going to take on Hyperliquid, which we'll get into. This was also cool. It's entered the top 5 generating protocols on Base already, with 100% of the fees going to the liquidity providers. So they're kicking back the fees back into the ecosystem. Crazy that it's reached the top 5 already, and it's week 1. So where's this platform going to be in a month or 2 months when it has hundreds of thousands of users coming on board actually using it, right? Because it offers features that are not available on Hyperliquid, and the fees are much lower as well. So people are actually going to lose less money on fees. I think they're going to really suck a lot of the market, especially the Hyperliquid market. So quite a few different reasons why I was bullish on this. So I put in around 2%. Again, risk management is key. I'm not going to go and put 20, 30, 40% of my portfolio in any altcoin, guys. And don't forget, 2% for me now is a lot of money. It's crazy. Look at this Casper buy. Look how much I put in. I've banged in 1K, and this was back in 2022. That was a lot of money to me back then. That's crazy how much money I made this cycle. And 1K, it did turn. I think I dollar cost averaged in some more, but 1K 40x is $40,000, right? So it did actually turn out to be a decent size of money. But now I'm putting 20Ks into these plays, and it's still a small amount of my portfolio, right? 2%, 20K. So yeah, I'm always keeping risk management focused. Even when I put 1K into Casper, it wasn't a large amount of my portfolio. It was a lot larger than 2%, I think. But yeah, risk management is key. I posted it saying I don't come across these very often, and I feel like we are super early. Okay, so you probably have seen me not really talk about many altcoin projects that I'm interested in. I can't even remember the last ones. It was the bots, the AI bots that I was quite interested in, which was a narrative that lasted a short time. So I posted this saying Avantis is the native utility governance token for Avantis. So I'm not going to waffle on about what it does. You guys already know it's a decentralized perps blockchain, and where you can trade commodities and RWAs, right? 4 days old, so it was 4 days old at the time. It wasn't listed on Binance. It was listed on the different sector of Binance. I can't remember what it's called, where they have assets that are early, and then they move them to the actual exchange. So then it did actually move to Binance in the end. But it was listed on Coinbase and Buyback, KuCoin, Mexi. Always pay attention to things that are listed on Coinbase very early, because Coinbase do very advanced fundamental and technical analysis on assets, especially for risk management and for regulation purposes. So it's a very good sign to see a new project listed on Coinbase early, especially before Binance, because that means they really want it if they list it before Binance. Backed by Pantera Capital. If you don't know who Pantera are, massive investment company. They have huge connections in government. They have huge connections in the investing markets. And I think they manage around $5 billion of assets. It might even be more than that now, guys. So huge backing. And Pantera wouldn't really work on a project or launch a project if it wasn't going to be a long-term project, right? It's not going to be a 2-month project. It's not going to be a 3-month. They've probably got a multi-year plan for this to grow into a very large platform. And they've just had Hyperliquid do it, right? So Hyperliquid have just pretty much set up the roadmap for them and said, look, this is what went well, this is what went bad, this is how we improved our ecosystem. And you just look at that as if you were starting up a business, that's what you would do. You just look at that. What did they do well? What did they do bad? What's their strengths? What's their weaknesses? What can we take from them that worked, and what can we improve on, and what can we offer that's new that they don't offer? And you can wipe out the competition, right? It powers trading incentives, so I've already talked about this. Hyperliquid does not currently offer this, so its markets are limited to crypto-native perpetuals and spot trading. So it offers loads of different features that Hyperliquid doesn't, including trading FX, metals, commodities, equities. I'm going to use it myself. This is one of the things I loved about it. I was actually looking for somewhere to trade gold, and Mexi, I could only trade PAXG, and I wanted to take a high leverage gold trade, and it would only let me trade with a very small amount because it was a crypto linked to gold's price. It was a small market cap. So I was looking for somewhere where I could trade gold, and then this popped up, and I was like, this is perfect. Loads of people are going to use this to trade gold. Whales that are trading, futures on crypto, on Hyperliquid, of course, are going to be interested in trading gold, commodities. The US dollar, if we go into a bear market, the US dollar is probably going to rise, right? So I would want to take a long position on that, ideally on high leverage, and maybe a lot of retail will want to take high leverage longs on that as well. Maybe gold comes down eventually, right? And we start to see money go back into housing or real estate or back into stocks in a bear market. And then I'll want to take a large short position on gold. So yeah, loads of opportunities there that's not offered by the competition. And an easy way to steal customers is just offer something that they don't have, right? This is how a lot of small exchanges became big. they were listing new meme coins. They were listing new altcoins that other exchanges didn't have, and users would have to leave Coinbase and have to leave Binance to go and trade those altcoins, right? Even when I used to work in exchange, I was actually trying to convince them to list Casper, and I was trying to listen, and they said it's too new. Don't know about it. What is it? I'm not too sure about it. And I was like, guys, this is brand new. This is huge. It's the first proof of work. Doing these kind of levels of transactions. Blocks per second. And I said, also, this is a great way for us to draw retail in. I said it's not listed on any exchanges so far. Look what I had to do to buy it. And the exchanges that listed Casper ended up getting thousands and thousands of new users open accounts so that they could go and buy Casper, right? So it's a really great way to draw in customers and suck in customers, and I think that's what they're probably going to focus on, and that's what I would do if I was on the marketing team. I would say we need to market this to people who want to trade FX, metals, commodities as soon as possible, and draw those in and get them in, and obviously appeal to the crypto market as well. Offers up to 500x leverage, so something that Hyperliquid does not do. It doesn't offer high leverage. It does offer decent leverage. I think you can do 5, 10, 20x leverage, but you can't go and do 100x leverage, or I think most assets are actually 5 to 10x on Hyperliquid. Don't quote me on that. Retail love to do 500x leverage. They love to do 200x. Why? Because they can go and trade with $10 and all they can lose is $10. But if they're right, that could turn into thousands of dollars. So retail kind of like that. And I get it. If I didn't have much money in my pocket, I'd probably take, more risk. I'd probably take a 50x here, 100x there. Because if I can only lose $5, I might as well, right? I might as well. So yeah, I love that they've factored that 500x in to these as well, which you can do, I believe, on RWAs as well, which is insane. So I do want to take some high leverage positions on gold and potentially the US dollar because the market caps are so big, right? So I do want to take some high leverage positions. When I'm sniping, I really want to long the dollar as we go into the bear market. When we eventually go into a bear market, I want to long the dollar as it's down so much, and usually people are going to take profits out of the market and go into a stable coin. So I am actually going to start using this platform, and I think a lot of people are going to over the next few months and potential years. So really, really cool. I did notice they had staking pools of 16% on USDC as well. So they're probably going to get a lot of whales and institutions staking stable coins, because 16% on $1 million is $160,000 a year, right? So potentially passive income there from staking. Now, staking doesn't come without risks, but the project is backed by Pantera. I think there'll be a lot more trust there than Hyperliquid did have in their early stages, right? Because you don't know, it's Hyperliquid's own chain. You don't know what's going on. You don't know if it's secure or safe just yet. It's in the early days, you need to see a chain like that prove itself, right? Especially when you can't go and properly audit everything. You want to see a chain like that prove itself. But this is on base and it's backed by Pantera, so there's already an element of trust there. I think there's around 12 million. I don't know if it's 12 million or 120 million that was staked in the stablecoin pool, but they offered different types of returns on those, which does interest whales, and it's good to see that it is an option there, right? So really cool USP. They had a really cool USP for assets like BTC, ETH, or Sol. Traders pay no fees on losses, only if they profit. That's really cool. That's really cool, because if your trade turns into a loss and you're retail and then you get charged fees on top of that, it could be really hard to grow and level up. So it's really cool that they offered that. Only if it profits. Typically a small percentage is taken, for example 0.02 or 0.05% maker taker fees on wins. Okay, so that's really cool. This is the first time of its kind to encourage balanced trading and reduce barriers for retail users. So it's good to see that they are going after retail users and whales. I know there's a lot of whales actually who use Hyperliquid, and they're going after both on this platform. Additional incentives include up to 20% loss rebates. So, for example, cash back on losses that help rebalance open interest. So if your trade ends up in a loss, there's features here where you would get 20% cash back. So if you lost $1,000, maybe you hit your stop loss or whatever, they would give you $200 back cash back. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Trading fees collected from profitable trades go directly to liquidity providers, LPs, in the protocol's USDC-based vaults. LPs have already earned, LPs have already earned over $1 million in fees, with the protocol reporting 15 million plus in annualized run rate revenues from 20 billion. Now, this is very early. The more users, the more traders, the more these fees are going to flood into this project, right? This is a really cool narrative at the moment. We're seeing a narrative around projects that are revenue generating projects. So projects that generate money, and that money is then sent back into either liquidity pools or it's actually gone back into buyback programs, which I'm going to talk about in a second. So it's a really popular narrative at the moment, and for good reason, right? Utility projects are usually flooded with, it doesn't do anything, it doesn't have a utility, it doesn't make any money. And we're seeing a lot of interest in these projects because they're saying, actually, we do make a lot of money, right? We're saying we make X amount, per quarter, we make X amount per year. If the platform keeps growing at this size, we estimate that we're going to be generating 3.7 billion a year. That really interests institutions. That's something that the institutional market and the Web 2 market love to see in stocks, right? How much are you earning? Are earnings good? Right, I'm not going to panic, right? If your earnings are good, I'm going to continue to hold, and if your earnings are projected to go higher, I'm going to be more interested. And it's something that hasn't really been that important in crypto, which is surprising to say. We are degens, we invest in potential, but it's nice to see these projects that have utility, that are focusing on revenue generation, that are focusing on pumping that liquidity back into either the market or the token. It's really, really cool to see that. So I won't waffle on, otherwise this video is going to be, so long, guys. I did say here the market cap is very small given its fundamentals. It's 89 million, so this is roughly when we got into it. 89 million market cap versus Hyperliquid's 18 billion equal to 200x gap. Okay, so there's a 200x gap here in market cap size. Just achieving 25% of Hyperliquid's market cap would return a 50x. So just 25% from the time we got in today. Not today, guys. This was a couple of days ago. 50x just if it hits 25%. And it would almost be embarrassing, right? If Coinbase and Pantera weren't able to create a platform that could achieve 25% of Hyperliquid's market cap, it would kind of be a bit embarrassing. And also Hyperliquid would run clear. If the competition couldn't get close on their best attempt, listing on the biggest exchanges in the world, everyone's just going to think, right, Hyperliquid's the winner, right? The competition tried and failed. So I would be very surprised if it doesn't get very close or even exceed Hyperliquid's market cap. This was really cool. The tokens, so I put about here the vesting and how long it's locked for. The tokens from the team and the VCs are locked for 1 year. Look at this, 1 year cliff from TGE. So they're actually not released until September 2026. Now that's very rare. Usually it's 10% or 20% of the tokens on TGE. So whoever invested in this had to be really committed to a long-term investment, because I wouldn't have invested in a 1 year cliff because that means let's say I put $1 million in today. It could be worth 200k in a year's time, right? Anything's possible. We might be going into a bear market by September 2026. So whoever in the VCs that invested into this had to know that this was serious, and they also had to know that there's not going to be any sell pressure on this project, right? Because obviously there's going to be some sell pressure. They've done an airdrop, but the VCs and the team tokens are locked for 12 months, and it just shows that they're serious. You don't see that very often. It shows that they're not trying to make short-term money. They're not trying to make money on the project launching, and they're serious about this doing well over the long run, and that's why the price has just completely rallied, right? Usually on a launch, what you would have is you would have the launch, and then you would have the team and VCs taking profits. One of the things that's ruined a lot of launches in this market is having 20% unlocked on TGE, because everyone buys early and then they launch on retail on the dump. But now we're seeing the opposite, right? The team tokens and the VC tokens are locked for 12 months. Now, when we get to September 2026, yes, that might be an area that I have to be quite cautious, because I do think that this project's going to push up $10, $20. When we push up into September, yeah, there's going to be a massive unlock and people are going to be in a lot of profits, and you're probably going to see a consolidation and some profit taking. But for now, really, really cool that they are locked up for 12 months. One thing I don't like about this project, guys, now I'm not paid to market these guys, right? Most of my videos, as you guys know, I'm just trying to make money, and I tell you guys the projects I'm interested in where I can make some money. Now, these guys, I don't like this. I do not like this. No immediate buyback mechanism. One of Hype's main selling points is its buyback mechanism. Hyperliquid basically buy back the token from the profits that they make, which is great. It's an absolutely great feature to have, and people feel more comfortable holding the token. They know that you're buying it back. I don't know whether that's sustainable forever. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But it's a cool feature. And if you're going to try and take on Hyperliquid, you're already smashing it. You're already offering all of these different features that they don't offer. Great, fantastic. You're clean. You've got the back-end. You've got the money. Brilliant. You're probably going to do very well. But you are going to have to try and compete with this buyback feature. Now, I don't know if it's an SEC thing. I used to do this, right? I used to literally build marketing strategies and roadmaps for Web3 projects, specifically Web2 companies that wanted to bridge into Web3 and didn't understand the market or how it worked. And if I was building a strategy for Avantis, I would have done a lot of the things they've already done, right? But I would 100% have had a buyback mechanism. So this feels too suspect to me, because if it's your competition's main selling point, what you do is you would do a SWOT, right? So you would do a SWOT analysis on Hyperliquid, which is your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. One of their main strengths would have been the buyback feature, right? The buyback feature of the token. They buy back the token, it goes up, people love it. It's going to go up forever mentality. There must be a reason why they didn't do this, okay? Because they're not stupid. They're some of the smartest people in the industry. They're not stupid. I personally think they wanted to fly under the radar with this project. I think they wanted to fly under the radar. Why had no one barely heard of it until today? Why is the volume gone straight up to $2 billion? Why was it listed on Coinbase immediately and still no one was really talking about it? Why is it gone straight onto Binance? Why is it going onto the biggest exchanges in week one and Hyperliquid is still not there? And it's an 18 billion market cap. They want to take on Hyperliquid, and something is fishy here. I think they want to fly under the radar. I think they are going to do a buyback of the token. I think they're just going to roll it out later. I think they want to accumulate the project and build up control of the token, right? I think they want to own the token and then start to release the big guns like buyback features. That's surely the only reason they didn't offer a buyback feature. Second potential theory is regulation, but I don't think there is regulation around buying back the token. I don't think there is, and especially with how lenient the SEC are now with crypto. I don't think there is anything wrong. And we even see in stocks, right? We see in stocks that they do buybacks of their own stock, and they talk about they're going to do buybacks. So this is either going to be an announcement that comes later, and imagine how much FOMO that would drive, right? If they came out and said, we're now going to allocate 80% of all revenues to buy back the Avantis token. It's not something you would want to do on launch, because you would want to have it, you've done an airdrop, right? So you'd want people to kind of sell off a little bit. Let's see if they sell. Let's see if they're going to hold. And then we'll draw the big guns later, right? When we've loaded up, when we've accumulated. And I think this was Binance. I think this candle here was Binance. It's funny, people were telling me yesterday it's already pumped. They're not really interested in buying, and then Binance just go and buy the top. It's hilarious sometimes. And I still think this is early days. I saw another massive KOL say, I've missed it. We're in this 2-day mentality at the moment, right? It's been pumping for 2 days. No one really has any long-term vision, and these projects don't come around very often. And, there's probably people who sold Hyperliquid. There was people who sold Casper down here, right? When we bought Casper back in 2022, people sold it at 2x and a 3x here. And, no risk, no story, guys, sometimes. If I hadn't have held this into the bull run, I would have been devastated. I'd have nowhere near made the money that I ended up making. Because don't forget, the profits that I took out of this, I might have gone and taken a long on BTC with 10K, and that turned into 100K, right? So money makes money, and the money I made from Casper has helped me make more money. I think I made 250,000 on a long position on Bitcoin, and would I have even had that money to trade if I hadn't have held my Casper bag? So yeah, it's like sometimes I get it. Some people are just like, I've hit my 2x target, I'm out. I've hit my 3x target, I'm out. But these projects don't come around very often. They really don't come around very often. And just look what happened to Hyperliquid, right? Imagine all the people that sold Hyperliquid, down here on a 2x or a 3x, and they had to watch this thing just completely rally. So yeah, sometimes you have to take risks. I mean, I'm already on 54K, but I think it's going to 10x from here, guys, which means I'm looking at $500,000 on this trade, and I can't really lose now, right? I can't really lose now because I just set my stop loss at entry. So, if it does go up to do what I think it's going to do, I make $500,000. And if it comes down, it was a free lottery ticket anyway. So it's a completely free lottery ticket. I can't lose. In fact, I've already taken a small amount of profit off of this. I've taken like 8,000. I say small. I've taken already about $8,000 profit off the long. I've not sold any of my spot bags, but I have taken $8,000 off the long. So even if it did come down to my entry at 43, which I think is never going to happen, but if it does, then it just hits my stop loss at entry, and I'm $8,000 up, right? So personally, for me, I do take some risks here and there. Follow my X, by the way, guys, because I've been posting about this recently, saying next leg up's coming. No one got a house on a 2x. No risk, no story, right? It wasn't easy to hold Casper from 2022. People didn't start talking about Casper until 2023, 2024. A lot of FOMO, a lot of people flooded in, but it was actually just believing and understanding what the project was and just holding long term, where I made my life-changing money. And, I think Avantis maybe even be stronger than this potential Casper play. So really, really cool project. Let me guys know what you think about this. Where do you think this can reach? I mean, obviously, if it reaches Hyperliquid market cap, it's a 60x. I already think it has the backing, and it does more than Hyperliquid. So, sorry, it's a 48x from here, from today's price. In a pump, guys, don't forget, we're in a pump. So if it does pull back 50%, this is going to be, like 100x, 98x or something. So yeah, I do think it can. I think it can potentially surpass Hyperliquid. I don't think it's going to happen overnight. Could it happen before December? Yes, it really could. I think Hyperliquid actually went up $10 billion in market cap in a month or something. It was $3 billion in April, and then it went to $18 billion by September. So yeah, a few months it went up crazy. So 3 billion. So it was 3 billion. So it was 3 billion in April, and then it was 13 billion in June. So just 2 months it went up $10 billion in market cap. Could Avantis do that with this kind of backing? Yes, I think so. Like by December, this could be, if Hyperliquid went up 10 billion, it's not even listed on Coinbase, guys. It wasn't listed on Binance. It's not listed on Binance, not listed on Coinbase. And, it's already on Upbit here doing $487 million volume on Upbit. And it's just literally got listed on Upbit. This is actually insane. I feel like we're super early. I'm so lucky. And look at the DEX volume, 85 million on a DEX. This is whales. Like whales trade on DEXs. And this is so good for Coinbase, right? What's good for Coinbase is good for us. Coinbase want this to be successful. They want it to do well. They want to have the Hyperliquid. Why haven't we got the Hyperliquid? Why didn't we create this? Okay, well, let's create it. And let's not just try and be half as good as Hyperliquid. Let's go and surpass Hyperliquid. Something to consider is Hyperliquid going to come down? The cool thing about the Hyperliquid situation is, if Hyperliquid continues to go up, the market cap expectations of Avantis continue to go up. And if Hyperliquid comes down, people will think, why is Hyperliquid going down? Oh, they're going into Avantis. It's cheaper and offers more. And Avantis continues to go up. So if Hyperliquid goes up, bullish. If Hyperliquid goes down, bullish, right, for Avantis. Because you might see a flow of money coming from Hyperliquid. Because don't forget, a lot of people have made colossal amounts of money in Hyperliquid. I was looking at some wallets who are up over $100 million in profits. And, you know, as an investor, if I was up $100 million in profits and I saw the competition were coming for my play in a big way, right? The top exchanges, some of the biggest institutions, and I saw they were coming, I would hedge. I would hedge, and I would, even if I didn't sell all my hype, I would at least hedge, because I've just been in the Hyperliquid place, so I completely understand this market, this industry, and I would take a hedge. If you want to use my code, don't forget to use the code for a discount. Use SMC when you sign up for Avantis. If you're planning to use this, maybe you've been looking for an exchange you can use where you don't have to KYC. Use my code SMC. I'm not too sure what discount you get. I know you get some sort of discount on trading fees or something. But yeah, use the code SMC or type in this link here into your browser and sign up with my referral. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, guys. I think that's pretty much it. Let me know what you think about this. Can it flip Hyperliquid? If they do a buyback feature, they must be doing a buyback feature. I feel like that's coming, and I think that would absolutely send it. Maybe they wanted to bag up. Another thing I'll tell you that not a lot of people know, on Hyperliquid, this is a strategy that a lot of the elites use. When you have a competition, and I'll tell you, Binance and Coinbase hate competition. They're really competitive, especially Binance. When you want to take the competition down, you look for any way to do that. And if you remember when Hyperliquid launched, there was actually some big FUD where someone tried to flush the liquidity pool by taking on high leverage trades, which they managed to overcome. But there was loads of plays trying to take Hyperliquid down. They couldn't take it down. And then there become this consensus that Hyperliquid is actually going to flush out all of the exchanges, right? And people are starting to say, no KYC, decentralized CEX is the future, which it definitely could be. And this is going to take millions and hundreds of millions and billions of volume away from Binance and Coinbase. So what do? First of all, you buy up that platform, you buy up the project, you buy up the token. If this is going to run away and potentially be a massive competitor in the market, and it's going to affect exchanges, they want to own it. They really want to own as much as possible. Just like you saw Binance buying up FTX, right? Binance were buying up so much of the FTX token because that's the best way to control someone. That's the best way to control the project. And I've gone into the Hyperliquid holders, and a lot of the holders are exchanges. A lot of them are really big exchanges who have not sold any of the token. They've not sold any. Some of the exchanges are holding hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Hyperliquid that have not sold. And they're up a lot as well. They're up 500-600%. I think the same thing is going to happen with Avantis. I think Hyperliquid are going to buy a lot of Avantis because it's their main competitor. I think exchanges are going to have to buy Avantis. I think Binance is going to want to have a massive moon bag of Avantis in case it becomes a massive competitor to Hyperliquid. Maybe it becomes an institutional go-to even in the TradFi space, right? It doesn't just draw in crypto users, it draws in TradFi users who are interested in trading gold on leverage, especially with no KYC, right? Especially with no KYC, because there's a simple tick box and you just tick, yeah, I'm allowed to trade, and you're in. You're trading. And you can anonymously trade with hundreds of millions or billions of dollars, right? And we know that there's whales out there holding $20 billion, $10 billion in Bitcoin, and no one even knows who they are, right? No one knows their wallet, who they are, and they can just move some of this money and start trading on leverage, on gold, the SPX, the S&P, stocks, crypto, and anonymously with no KYC. Huge market, guys, huge market for that. it's almost like a Bitcoin. It's almost like a Bitcoin platform, you know, where there's no middleman, you know, and people can trade anonymously. Huge market for retail as well. Huge market for retail, because there's a lot of places where retail are not actually allowed to even trade, and they can just click their tick box and start trading, right? No questions asked. So yeah, I think it's going to do really well. Is it without risks? There's always risks investing in anything, guys. You know, do your own research. Investing in altcoins, crypto, stocks, housing. You can lose all your money at any point whatsoever, which is why I only put 2% in, right? Even though I was super bullish, I literally said, look, we don't come across these very often. I feel like we're so early. And I wrote this massive write-up about it. I only still put in 2%, because what if I was wrong? And it did crash. And obviously 2% is a lot of money to me. I've already made almost $100,000 off this play in 2 days. So, you know, it's more than I need to risk. So yeah, always manage your own risk, do your own research. If you want to join us, obviously I've already told you guys what to do. Head to my X, click the link and jump in the Patreon. You also get the SMC bot, which we haven't talked about in this video, but if you want to see the SMC bot, there's a playlist on my YouTube that talks about it. And you get the SMC bot in your own trading view for free, which basically gives buy and sell signals on assets. I think I've been posting some of the SMC bot signals. Yeah, so it basically pops up with buy and sell signals on assets in your trading view. So we had one pop up on XRP recently as well, that buy signal on the daily time frame. You don't need a paid trading view, so it works inside a free trading view. So you see Pepe gave a buy signal down here, and then Pepe just went on this absolute moonshot. So congratulations if you took that signal. So yeah, really cool indicator. Rigetti as well, look, gave a buy signal on Rigetti down here. We're in Rigetti, by the way. I'm holding this long term, many years. I'm holding this for 5-6 years. But look at the buy signal from the SMC bot, fantastic. And then it went on to, I think, 10x. Yeah, done a 10x from that buy alert. Crazy. So yeah, you also get that. It works on stocks, crypto, commodities, metals, pretty much everything. We had a buy signal on BTC as well. I'm still in this long position, by the way, guys. I took some profits off the table, but I'm still in this long position. We had a buy signal from BTC the other day after the sell signal. So yeah, don't forget, like and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with the latest. I'm going to keep you guys posted with what I'm doing on Avantis. I'm probably going to do videos about this weekly or maybe every few days, because I think you don't get gems like this very often. So I really want you guys to stay up to date with the latest. So press the bell notification button so you don't miss out on any of those videos. I'm also tracking all of the whales holding AVNT. So whenever they move money, I'll get notified in real time. So it will look like, let me show you the ETH Foundation wallet. It will look like this when the ETH Foundation, what's the time? 2 hours ago, they moved some money. They moved $4 million 2 hours ago. So I'll get notifications like this when whales, smart money, vesting contracts start to move money around in AVNT, so I can really stay on top of it. I'm seeing a lot of buys. Binance were buying a lot today, so that's good. Yeah, I can really keep on top of it. And if we see insiders or the team, well, the team can't sell. The team tokens are locked for 12 months, so that's cool. But if we see any suspicious activity, then, you know, maybe I would be like, maybe I'll take a little bit off the table here just in case. But for now, all looks good. Very new, just getting listed globally, and the sky's the limit with this. That's it for now. Don't forget, I will catch you in the next one.